My name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about common reasons dismissive avoidant attachment style individuals reach out after a breakup. So this was asked, people asked me to do this video so many times over the last little while. And what I want you to keep in mind when we go through this is that this will be different based on how long you've been in a relationship. This will also be different in terms of how long it's been since you broke up when the dismissive avoidant reaches out. But I will give you some common reasons and as many different variations of scenarios as possible to give you some context for all of this. And before I dive in, we are still doing our With You sale for 25% off 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months as membership bundles and single course purchases. And the coupon code is With You, all one word. I'll put it in the description box below. And you do have a money back guarantee if you go in and you're like, I don't like this, then we do give a money back guarantee because we feel very, very confident about, people's experience in there and coming into the school and enjoying it and getting a lot of value. There's a lot going on in there. 4 live calls I do every single week. Now we have 4 and we're adding more, attachment coach, socials, mastermind groups, all these different things. And then very, very in-depth courses. We have about 35 of them and all these previously recorded webinars, hundreds on all different topics. So it's a very exciting thing. Okay, so let's talk about this. So one of the first things you might see is that a dismissive avoidant might reach out if there's been a very short relationship. So let's say maybe you were just ever dating, you weren't really committed, monogamous, you didn't make a commitment towards any exclusivity, whether you were monogamous or not, but you are in a very short relationship. And then soon after the breakup, maybe within a month or 2, you see the dismissive avoidant reaching out. And usually in this case, it's often because the dismissive avoidant is looking for some form of validation. They're looking for a little bit of attention or connection. They might be feeling a little bit lonely. They may not fully recognize that that's how they feel, but they will be reaching out from that space, from that sort of repressed emotional space. And they might register it at a more conscious level as, just looking to connect, looking to, touch base. And there's sort of this, temptation to sort of reach out. I just feel like doing it. But a lot of times from that place, it's often coming from looking for a little bit of connection, attention, not necessarily in any form because they're looking to jump back into a relationship. Okay. So this will be, again, specifically, usually if it's a pretty short period of time that you were dating, and then it's, a couple months after you've broken up. Okay. And you can think of this as being in the dating phase, never progressing to the honeymoon phase. And this doesn't necessarily mean that the dismissive avoidant is really serious about working things out. It usually means that they're just looking to connect a little bit and to just sort of get a little hit of connection in their cup. And again, I know a lot of people might go, oh, that's awful and all these different things. And be gentle because everybody can relate to that. Every attachment style at some point in time has reached out when they may not, to an ex or to a loved one, when they may not feel 100% ready to re-engage in a relationship or fully open because they're feeling not so good and they want that kind of connection. But it's important to be able to establish that. And if you're curious as the person on the receiving end of this, you can ask, you can say, hey, what is this all about? Is this you just, wanting to connect? Or, if you want to spend time together again, if you're looking to hang out, I want to know that we're both on the same page and let's have a discussion about it. And then if you hear crickets, then you have your answer, but at least you get to be clear and intentional coming from your perspective. Okay. Another big reason DAs will reach out because often they will want space and not necessarily want to reach out in most traditional, post-relationship dynamics. To keep the peace in some way will be a big one. If they know they have to see you again, if you work together, if you work in the same area, if you are, part of the same friend group, things like this, then sometimes dismissive avoidants will kind of reach out to make the situation sort of feel peaceful and relaxed, but you will know that that's what's going on because it will be reaching out at a very high level. It'll be very simplistic. It won't be touchy-feely, how are you? How are you feeling? It might be a joke or just something to break the ice, essentially. And this can be different. This can show up in all different times after long relationships, after short relationships. This is a common reason. Now, if it's after a very long relationship and they reach out, and especially if it's right around like 2 months or so after the relationship has ended, 6 weeks even, if somebody's a little less dismissive avoidant, but 2 months plus really, going forward, you might see that the dismissive avoidant is reaching out because they actually do miss you and they miss the relationship. But one thing you have to be careful of is sometimes dismissive avoidance, they may not realize it, but maybe they're missing the security associated with a relationship more than the emotional intimacy and the effort that goes in there. And again, this isn't because the dismissive avoidant as a human being doesn't want to make an effort. It's because a lot of like making an effort emotionally in relationships defies a lot of what they've built up as a system to protect themselves and their psyche, which is a little bit of emotional avoidance, keeping space, self-soothing, and really carving out space and privacy and time for oneself. So that is all really important to be aware of. And so then this would require having a deeper conversation, maybe reconnecting for a little bit, touching base over text messages or phone for a little bit, and then really saying, if we're going to try something again, let's sit down. Let's talk about our boundaries, our expectations, our needs. Let's talk about what went wrong, what we can do better this time around. And if you're the person who's not the dismissive avoidant, if you're the person on the receiving end, you have to be really clear about your boundaries and your needs. And you have to see that there's effort from both sides. Okay. Now, another one, which I'll see in more rare cases, which is usually if there's been a very long standing relationship. So I mean like a decade sort of thing. They may reach out if they want a friendship. And this can also happen in the rare case that there was a long-standing friendship before the relationship. So for example, if you were friends with a DA for years and then there's a reconnection, then that can be something that takes place. Then there's a romantic connection and then you split up, the DA may want to rekindle the friendship. They might have some romantic feelings there still to a certain degree as well. But DAs are very unique in the fact that even if they have romantic feelings there, if they don't feel like it's emotionally comfortable for them and things like that, then they may still want the friendship and they want that connection and closeness to have you around and to have that sort of feeling of excitement around somebody, but they may not, it's sort of like their DAs are always operating from their feelings minus their fears. And if the fears are quite strong and their subconscious coping mechanisms are quite profound, those can be in really strong competition. So even though somebody's reaching out and trying to stay in touch and things like that, that may not translate necessarily to like into action, into change, into the relationship working out. So again, it's very important that anybody in this dynamic is very clear and that we open up the conversation from both parties. Or if you are the dismissive avoidant watching this, have a conversation, talk about where you're at, share your boundaries. The more direct both people can be, the less emotional volatility and challenge will be sort of embedded in that dynamic long term. And then if we've been dating somebody who's dismissive avoidant, for example, for 6 months, maybe it's just in the honeymoon phase, or maybe it was early in the power struggle phase, a shorter relationship, and there was a breakup, then you could also hear from the person, around 6 weeks or more, because they're sort of lonely and feeling, like they're seeking connection, which again, a lot of people can relate to from all different attachment style spaces. And so it's your duty, if you are that person, to check in, to see what happens from that. And if you are missing the dismissive avoidant, to be clear about your expectations and boundaries so that, in both parties really, to be able to do this so that there aren't muddied waters. So those are some major ones. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see different videos or more extensive. Like I could always break these down into individual videos. Like if you've been in a short relationship and the person's looking for validation, what do you do? So let me know if you want to see any of these key points broken down. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.